August 20th, Thursday edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. There's a look back at our numbers from yesterday in terms of high temperatures, 80s and 90s across the region. 86 in Greensboro, 92 in Charlotte, 93 in Fayetteville and Columbia, 80 in Boone. There's your triad highs, mid to upper 80s. Charlotte, low to mid 90s in most spots there as yesterday rolled along. Had a lot of rain and thunderstorms, which I'll show you in just a moment. These are the 4 o'clock hour temperatures this morning, mainly 70s. It is still a very, very humid setup in place, and that's going to be the case for one more day. All right, there was the radar presentation. Very, very active day with a lot of rain and thunderstorms, and really it was that corridor there from southern and North Carolina back into the mountains and then over toward central North Carolina, basically along and south of I-40 for a lot of the rain and thunderstorm activity yesterday. There's your storm report map, a number of wind damage and certainly a number of flooding issues once again in some spots. And some wind damage in places like Davie County, back down into Iredell County too. There's the Davie County report. You go further to the southwest, several wind damage reports there from northern parts of Iredell County. And then you got into a lot of flooding issues, again, on the east side of Charlotte toward Union County, some flooding issues up toward parts of Cabarrus County, some tree damage there too, and some power line damage. And actually right there from Center City, Charlotte, or close by to Center City, Charlotte, Scaly Bark Road, a tree fell on a house there, unfortunately. So certainly, you know, kind of rough stuff as we went through yesterday. There's your 24-hour rain totals, and you see a lot of folks with a lot of rain. Southern half of the triad viewing area, a couple bullseyes of over 2 inches of rain there, parts of Davie and Randolph County. And then again, you went down toward the Charlotte area. Look at this once again. Many of these same areas hit hard by heavy rain once again. You look at that area in western parts of Union County, eastern Mecklenburg, over 5 inches of rain. Once again, you had some bullseyes in various parts of the viewing area, over 2 inches of rain again yesterday. Now this is the current radar perspective, fairly quiet. You do have some showers and storms near Morehead City and then out toward parts of Pamlico Sound and out in the Atlantic. And still some showers off to the west. That's with the cold front that's rolling into the region, and that'll bring us one more day of scattered storm chances. Over 1.5 inches of rain officially in Asheboro yesterday, 0.54 at the Charlotte Airport, over 1.5 inches in Rockingham, over 1 inch in Lincolnton yesterday. So as this front moves in, we will continue to have the opportunity for scattered showers and storms. Now, I think a lot of the activity will be in eastern parts of the Carolinas, but even back to the I-85 corridor in the foothills, could see a few of those showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and into this evening. There's your highs across the region. Now, the much drier air begins to arrive tonight, and I still think the weather looks pretty good for us in many spots, especially across North Carolina tomorrow and into the weekend. Look at the dew points today, still very high, very, very humid setup for today, but that substantially drier air takes hold by tomorrow with dew points dropping down to the 50s for many of us on Friday, and that drier air continues to take hold into Saturday, even to places right along the coast. That drier air moving on in. So a lot of us are going to begin that dew point down into the comfortable portion of the dew point comfort scale tomorrow and Saturday. All right, tropical update time. We're, of course, discussing Danny, continuing to churn across the Atlantic Ocean. Danny struggled yesterday, battling dry air. Looking a little bit healthier this morning. There's the latest advisory, 50 mile per hour sustained winds moving to the west at about 10 miles per hour. Notice the convection a little bit more symmetrical. It's a small system, but looking a little bit healthier. Here's the intensity models. They've all come down, and the reason is dry air. And especially shear in the medium range here as you get toward the weekend. As you get toward the Caribbean Sea, the environment does not look terribly favorable. Here's the Hurricane Center forecast. Generally bend to the northwest temporarily, then an easing back to the west. Hurricane Center still does bring this to hurricane intensity, at least a very minor hurricane, as it then encounters the more hostile conditions of the northeastern Caribbean Sea, weakens back to a tropical storm. Again, still some dry air around the system. It's fighting that off for the time being. But also with it being such a compact system, I think as this begins to encounter a more hostile environment over the weekend, unless it becomes much more substantial in size, it's going to have a tough time surviving once it gets over toward the Caribbean Sea. But we'll see how that all plays out. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everybody have a great day, and God bless.